Salam, peace be upon you. My name is Muhammad Layak Siddiqui, the father of Holophase, part 38 Intervention and Control as Directed. Phi Pattern Coupling. We began with one insight pattern is primary, Phi is circular comparability, the root permission for distinction itself. Only relations are public. Identity is invariant equivalence under lawful transformation. Persistence is certified survival through change. Interaction is joint constraint. Time is ordered transformation. No ex nihilo. Every appearance has provenance. The physical world is expressed pattern. The observer is a pattern within pattern reality. Measurement produces traces. Memory stabilizes them. Models compress structure. Prediction narrows lawful futures. Learning updates structure while preserving identity. Now we ask, what happens when a pattern does not only anticipate the future, but deliberately alters it? Number one, the moment we ask, what happens when we stop merely watching? We have traveled far together. We have seen how patterns emerge, persist, and transform. We have seen how systems build internal models, make predictions, and learn from mismatch. We have watched the observer emerge as a pattern system inside pattern reality, not outside it. Now we face a new question, one that has been waiting since the beginning. What happens when a system stops merely watching and starts shaping? Observation is one kind of relation between patterns. The observer couples with the observed, produces traces, updates models. But the coupling is relatively gentle. The observer seeks to minimize disturbance, to track without altering. Intervention is different. Intervention alters the coupling itself. It changes the conditions of interaction. It reaches into the world and steers. Control is the constrained steering of continuation sets toward desired outcomes. This is not magic. It is not a violation of pattern law. It is directed pattern coupling, one pattern influencing another under lawful conditions. From reading, we move to writing. A simple everyday example, the gardener. Think of a gardener tending a garden. The gardener observes, notes which plants are thriving, which are struggling, where pests appear. This is measurement, modeling, prediction. But the gardener does more than observe. She waters the dry soil, she pulls weeds, she adds compost, she builds a trellis for climbing beans. These are interventions. They change the conditions under which the garden grows. They alter coupling. Water now flows differently, competition from weeds diminishes, support appears for climbing plants. The gardener also controls. She steers toward desired outcomes more tomatoes, fewer pests, beautiful flowers. She cannot control everything. Weather, disease, soil chemistry all push back. But within limits, she steers. The gardener is a pattern system herself, coupling with other pattern systems, the garden, to shape their evolution. She does not command nature, she collaborates with it. 3. Another example, the engineer. An engineer designs a bridge. She observes, measures loads, tests materials, models stresses. She predicts under what conditions will the bridge stand? But she also intervenes. She specifies the materials, the dimensions, the construction methods. She changes the world from no bridge to bridge. She controls within constraints. Budget, timeline, safety codes, physical laws all bound what she can achieve. But within those bounds, she steers toward a desired outcome, a safe, functional, lasting structure. The engineer and the bridge are patterns, coupling lawfully. Intervention is not magic. It is directed influence within constraints. 4. From reading to writing. We may think of the difference this way. Measurement reads, prediction anticipates, learning revises, intervention writes. When we intervene, we alter coupling conditions. Coupling is the structure of interaction between patterns. To intervene is to modify that structure. And control is not domination. Control is constrained steering of continuation sets. It means, given multiple lawful futures, we change the interaction regime so that some become more likely and others less likely. We do not escape pattern law, we use pattern law. Intervention defined. Let us define intervention clearly. Intervention is a structured modification of interaction conditions between pattern systems. This includes altering inputs to the target system, altering boundaries, what is included, what excluded, altering timing and order of events, altering interaction strengths, how strongly systems couple, altering accessibility, what parts of the target can be reached, altering composition, how components are arranged. If pattern A and pattern B interact through coupling C, intervention modifies C. It does not create reality from nothing. It reshapes lawful continuations. Control defined. Now let us define control. Control is constrained steering of continuation sets toward target states. Continuation sets are the possible lawful next configurations given current structure. Prediction narrows them conceptually. Control narrows them physically. Control says, given model M and target T, adjust coupling so that the probability of T increases. Control always operates under bounds. Access bounds. What parts of the system can we reach? Force bounds. How strongly can we influence? Stability bounds. Will our intervention cause runaway effects? Competing pattern bounds. Other systems push back. Uncertainty bounds. Our knowledge is imperfect. Resource bounds. Energy, time, attention are finite. Control is always partial. Absolute control would violate the invariant structure of distributed pattern reality. 7. A simple mechanical example, the thermostat. Imagine a thermostat. The thermostat measures temperature. It predicts that without heating, the room will cool. It intervenes by turning the heater on. It does not control temperature perfectly. Heat loss continues. External weather varies. The heating system has delay. Control oscillates within bounds. The thermostat is not a ghost. It is a pattern system coupling with another pattern system. Its control function is simple. If temperature set point, then activate heating. This conditional transformation reshapes continuation sets. Dissipate, the pilot and the sky. A pilot flying an aircraft provides a more dynamic image. She predicts future trajectory based on current velocity and wind. She intervenes by adjusting control surfaces. She steers toward the runway. But air pressure constrains lift. Fuel limits endurance. Weather creates turbulence. Mechanical limits constrain control authority. She does not dictate the sky, she works within it. Control is negotiated with physics. Distinguishing observation, manipulation, and control. These three modes are often confused. Let us distinguish them clearly. Observation. Coupling to obtain traces while minimizing disturbance. The goal is faithful records, accurate models. Example, a scientist measuring cosmic background radiation. Manipulation. Altering variables to produce informative traces. The goal is knowledge through structured variation. Example, a biologist varying temperature to see how enzymes respond. Control. Altering variables to steer toward preferred outcomes. The goal is not knowledge, though knowledge helps, but outcome. Example, a thermostat maintaining room temperature. Observation seeks to know. Manipulation seeks to learn through change. Control seeks to shape. These are not metaphysically different categories. They are functional modes of directed coupling. The counterfactual requirement. Here is a crucial point. Intervention implies counterfactual reasoning. To claim control, we must compare what happened with intervention versus what would have happened without intervention. This is the counterfactual condition. Without counterfactual grounding, intervention claims collapse into coincidence. If a doctor administers medicine and recovery occurs, we must ask, would recovery have occurred anyway? Control requires evidence of altered continuation sets. Intervention must demonstrate causal leverage. An example, the clinical trial. A clinical trial tests a new drug. One group receives the drug, another receives a placebo, a control group that enables counterfactual comparison. If the drug group improves more than the placebo group, we have evidence that the intervention altered outcomes. Without the control group, we cannot know. Maybe both groups would have improved anyway. Maybe the improvement was coincidence. The control group provides the counterfactual, what happens without intervention. This is why controlled trials are the gold standard. They ground intervention claims. Intervention provenance. Every intervention is itself a pattern event. Therefore, it has provenance. It has an initiating structure, who or what intervened, a coupling mechanism, how the intervention was executed, a record of execution, what was actually done, side effects, unintended consequences, feedback traces, observations of results, subsequent updates, how the intervener adjusted based on feedback. If provenance is hidden, intervention becomes opaque. Opaque intervention is indistinguishable from myth. Public knowledge requires declared intervention lineage. An example, the public policy. A government implements a new policy, say a carbon tax to reduce emissions. This is an intervention. It alters economic incentives, changes behavior, aims at a desired outcome. Provenance requires what model predicted the policy would work? What evidence supported that model? How was the policy designed and implemented? What data tracks its effects? What unintended consequences emerged? How will the policy be adjusted based on results? Without provenance, policy is blind. With it, policy becomes learnable. No magical agency. A critical firewall must be installed. Agency is not exemption from pattern law. Agency is structured capacity for directed coupling. When we act, we are not outside the system. We are patterns within pattern reality, influencing other patterns. There is no metaphysical gap between mind and matter, only structured interaction. The equation is simple. Intervention equals modification of coupling function. No mysticism required. 15. A biological example. The immune system. Consider immune response. A pathogen enters the body. The immune system detects it. Antibodies are produced. The pathogen is neutralized. Is this intervention? Yes. The immune system alters coupling conditions within the organism. It increases probability of survival state. But immune response is bounded. Overreaction causes autoimmune damage. Underreaction allows infection spread. control requires balance. Biological systems are full of control loops. Homeostasis is constrained steering. 16. Side effects. Every intervention produces side effects. Changing one coupling may alter others. A dam controls river flow but disrupts ecosystems. A vaccine prevents disease but may cause rare adverse reactions. A subsidy stimulates industry but distorts markets. Side effects are not anomalies. They are lawful consequences of interconnected pattern networks. Control claims that ignore side effects fail the intervention gate. Honest intervention declares known side effects and acknowledges uncertainty about unknown ones. Distributed control. Control need not be centralized. Ecosystems self-regulate. Markets equilibrate. Neural networks self-adjust. Social norms evolve. Distributed control arises when many local couplings collectively shape global continuation sets. Global behavior emerges from local steering. Control need not have a single controller. Pattern networks can produce self-organized steering. An example, the flock of birds. A flock of birds wheels across the sky. No single bird commands the flock. Each bird follows simple local rules. Match velocity, avoid collision, stay near neighbors. Yet the flock as a whole steers, avoiding predators, finding roosts, migrating. This is distributed control. Local couplings produce global steering. Control and stability. Control always interacts with stability. Too strong an intervention destabilizes. Too weak an intervention fails to steer. Stability analysis examines whether feedback reduces deviation or amplifies it. Negative feedback promotes control stability. A thermostat turns heat off when temperature rises. Deviation reduces. Positive feedback can produce runaway effects. A microphone too close to a speaker squeals. Deviation amplifies. Control theory formalizes this, but the principle is simple. Intervention must not destroy the system whose continuation we aim to shape. Learning from earlier parts, identity must persist. Control without identity preservation becomes replacement or collapse. Intervention and freedom. An important philosophical tension appears here. If patterns can steer continuation sets, does that imply freedom? Freedom is not absence of constraint. Freedom is local maneuverability within constraint. A bird is free to fly within aerodynamic bounds. A musician is free to compose within harmonic structure. A mathematician is free to invent within logical consistency. Control is freedom exercised within invariant law. Absolute freedom would mean lawlessness, but lawlessness dissolves structure. Thus, freedom and constraint are not opposites, they are complementary. Ethical dimension. Once intervention exists, responsibility emerges. Prediction alone carries epistemic risk. Intervention carries material risk. Control without provenance or declared bounds becomes manipulation. In pattern terms, uncertified intervention alters continuation sets without public accountability. This destabilizes trust structures. Thus, intervention must remain auditable. Public intervention requires declared goals, declared bounds, declared uncertainties, declared side effects, declared update paths. A cosmic reflection. On cosmic scales, gravity shapes galaxy formation. Is gravity control? No intention exists, but constraint shaping still occurs. Control in the narrower sense requires structured targeting, but the larger insight remains. Patterns influence patterns. Coupling reshapes continuation sets. Intentional control is a specialized instance of lawful interaction. The intervention gate. Now we formalize the gate. An intervention claim must declare target system. What pattern is being intervened upon? Coupling modification. What inputs, boundaries, strengths are altered? Control objective. Desired outcome with metrics. Counterfactual baseline. What would happen without intervention? Uncertainty bounds. Limits of knowledge about effects. Side effects. Known unintended consequences. Resource constraints. Energy, time, attention limits. Provenance lineage. Full history of the intervention. Without these, control claims remain ungrounded. Firewalls. What intervention discipline blocks? We install these protections. No control as omnipotence. Declare bounds. No intervention without counterfactual. Causal claims require comparison. No hidden bounds. Access, force, stability, competing patterns must be declared. No hidden side effects. Unintended consequences are lawful. Declare them. No untraceable provenance. Intervention history must be recorded. No confusion of modes. Observation, manipulation, control are distinct. No mystical agency. Control is lawful coupling, not magic. No control without accountability. Public intervention requires public accounting. Refusal conditions. We refuse to certify an intervention claim if coupling modification is unspecified, control bounds are undeclared, counterfactual baseline is missing, provenance is absent, side effects are hidden, control is treated as magical, intervention is conflated with observation. Refusal is not punishment. It is protection against ungrounded control claims. Why this matters? Beyond science, intervention in life. We intervene constantly. We choose careers, we invest money, we raise children, we vote, we speak. Each act alters coupling. Each act steers continuation sets. But we act under uncertainty. Our models are imperfect. Our predictions are probabilistic. Side effects are inevitable. Understanding intervention as constrained steering tempers arrogance. It encourages iterative learning. It aligns power with responsibility. In parenting, we steer within bounds. We cannot control our children's thoughts, only influence them. Too much control breeds resentment. Too little leaves them unguided. In relationships, we intervene through words and actions. Each conversation alters coupling. Each gesture shapes future possibilities. In citizenship, we intervene through votes, advocacy, participation. We steer collective outcomes within political and social constraints. Control is real, but it is never absolute. And that is not a limitation to lament, it is the condition of responsible action. A final image, the potter at the wheel. Imagine a potter at a wheel, shaping clay. She observes, watches the spinning form, notes where it bulges, where it thins. She intervenes, her hands press, guide, shape. She changes the coupling between clay and wheel, between clay and hands. She controls, steers toward a desired form, a bowl, a vase, a cup. But her control is bounded. The clay has limits. Too wet, it collapses. Too dry, it cracks. The wheel has speed limits. Her skill has limits. Within these bounds, she shapes. The clay responds. The form emerges. The finished vessel is co-authored by potter and material law. The potter does not command clay to ignore physics. She collaborates with it. This is intervention. This is control. This is how patterns shape patterns. Closing insight. We began with comparability. From phi emerged distinction. From distinction emerged pattern. From pattern emerged identity. From identity emerged persistence. From persistence emerged interaction. From interaction emerged measurement. From measurement emerged memory. From memory emerged modeling. From modeling emerged prediction. From prediction emerged learning. And now from learning emerges intervention. Intervention is the moment a pattern not only understands lawful transformation, but participates in shaping it. Yet it never escapes law. Control is structured influence, steering within bounds, pattern shaping pattern. We now move forward. Once directed coupling exists, a powerful structured form of transformation becomes central: computation. That is where we go next. This has been part 38 of the Phi Pattern Science Foundation. The journey continues with part 39, computation as lawful Phi pattern transformation. Always, peace be upon you.